Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Supergirl, Season 2, Episode 10. It's called We Can Be Heroes. Full spoilers for the episode as always. A lot happened in this one.
Yeah.
It felt like there was a lot of advancement in almost every plot. I mean, arguably the only one that didn't advance much was the Alex Maggie stuff, but that's fine because it kind of already had a big focus the last couple of episodes.
Interestingly, this might be my least favourite episode in a long time.
Interesting. I don't think I would say that. I have one major criticism.
I can only think like one of the major plot lines is that there's only one that I really liked. The rest I wasn't that keen on.
Interesting. Well, let's get through. Well, first of all, let's talk about Livewire. Livewire in prison, obviously from season 1. She's broken out, or what appears to be broken out, but it turns out she's been kidnapped by evil scientist man, and he's using her power to infect other people with powers and control them to wreak evil chaos, havoc.
Yeah, something like that. Create copies, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, well,
Seemed a bit vague, didn't it?
It seemed like he needed hosts to do it. Like he needed a host, and then he puts it in the host, and then he can control them. Because that's what he's trying to do to Guardian and Mon-El at the end of the episode.
Yeah, but then they're teleporting around like they're just copies.
I don't think it was they were teleporting around because they were copies. I think it was they were traveling like Livewire does, and they were like beaming out of the the lights or whatever electrical device, the outlets. I don't know. I think that's what was going on there. Yeah, villain was very vague. Villain wasn't particularly well.
But she was fighting Livewire, but surely Livewire was still strapped up.
Yeah, that's what I don't get. One of them looked like Livewire, but the other one didn't. The other one still looked like this, big guy.
Yeah, which is why I thought they were copies.
How could he be a copy though?
He was a copy of someone else.
All right, no, but he had the same powers, though, didn't that?
Well, yeah, but that's what I thought. The scientist had created copies of them. So a copy of Livewire, a copy of this guy.
All right, so he made copies and then gave them Livewire's powers.
Yeah, like they were. I don't know. They were made out of the electricity or something. I'm not. It was really vague.
Yeah, but then why did they want to turn Mon-El and Guardian into hosts? He clearly needs hosts.
Yeah, I know. This is why I'm confused.
The only thing that doesn't make sense to me is why one of the people look like Livewire.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the if she looked like someone else, this would all make sense. Well,
yeah, it would.
Well, hold on. Actually, I shouldn't say it will make sense to me because the plan's still very vague. But it would at least that part of it would make sense.
Yeah, I think this is why I'm assuming they were copies because I was like, well, Livewire's strapped up, and then this is a Livewire lookalike here.
But there was that other woman, the other prisoner, who helped break her out. I imagine that's
like
her.
Livewire, yeah.
Did she have a wig on? Did her hair just go white? I mean, the black guy was bald, so he wouldn't have white hair to go white. Maybe it was just her hair went white because she also was also in a prison outfit.
Oh, maybe I suppose.
Yeah, but the electricity made her hair go white, so then we thought it just looked like Livewire.
They really should have cleared this up a little bit better.
What they should have done is cast a black woman and then a white man, because the white man would have been obvious it was still him, and the black woman would have been very clear. No, this is a different woman because it looked like Livewire.
Well, yeah, but Supergirl thinks it's Livewire as well. So, I mean, this is probably why it's confusing.
Oh, well, maybe the scientist has intentionally made her,
look like that,
dress up, put the lipstick on and stuff,
maybe,
so that as far as they're concerned, Livewire is the one that's up to no good, and there's no one else to suspect. That kind of makes sense.
Could do.
It kind of makes sense.
I'm just confused, I'll be honest. This didn't really make sense.
It was so convincing that that we just thought it was her as well. There was no like, oh, that's a different actress, so that's...
Yeah.
It probably even was. It probably was just the same actress. And okay. I'll admit, I didn't really spend a lot of time thinking about this while I was watching the episode. I thought there was a lot of good character stuff in this one. A lot of fun little quips, and Supergirl being angry about having a nemesis was...
I like that.
Kind of amazing. Her breaking the TV monitor.
Yeah.
Good. Mon-El just brushing over the fact that he let a girl's head get blown off. Cardboard, of course, but...
Yeah. Specify that.
Yeah, but his attitude towards it and just like, well, mistakes were made, clearly.
This thing, I liked that. I liked the opening of the episode, and I liked one of the other plots. But then all the stuff with Guardian...
I didn't... Okay, so the Guardian plot is the... I'm trying to figure out how to start his plot. But basically, Supergirl finds out it's him. He goes to help. Jimmy doesn't believe Mon-El's actually a proper hero. He shows up to help, and it kind of proves his point because he has to save a civilian that Mon-El
Yeah.
lets get blasted because he rushes off to save Kara. And this creates a couple of confrontation scenes where Supergirl... I actually really like the start of that scene where Supergirl walks in the room and everyone goes... Because Wynn's in there, Alex is in there, and they all go quiet as if it's, this is awkward. Oh, Mom's come home. Oh,
yeah,
no.
But I kind of hate that it got to this point. Like, well, when he was going to just tell her, and then he got petty jealous because Mon-El was there, and it was just like, oh, I don't care about this. Just tell her. Don't have... And then as soon as it was like, she pulls off the helmet, and it's like... I don't want to go through this.
Okay. I don't really care.
It's that forced keeping secrets where we were so close to just getting it out in the open, and it's just like, no, be gone.
I agree about the forced keeping secrets, but it didn't bother me anywhere nearly as much as it did you. Mainly because I thought the scene was acted pretty well, and it did create some good character beats, and the philosophical debate that's going on, I actually really like. Yeah,
there's another part of that philosophical debate I'm a little bit confused about. So the whole thing is, she thinks, oh, you're human, so you can't do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
She just went to another Earth and watched Green Arrow be in charge.
Yes.
I don't get it. She's just seen that humans clearly are extremely capable, and they were saving the day, and that were very well respected by all the metahumans. But no, humans can't do it.
No, you're looking at this at the wrong perspective.
Go on.
You're taking this too literal. Like, no, this is bias. This is her bias because this is someone she cares about. There's a difference. This is like Joe not wanting Wally on the Flash to be a hero.
I know, but it doesn't come across like that to me. I know that's how it's supposed to be, but it's hammering home so much the fact that, oh, you're human.
No, but Connor, she's clearly in the wrong. This is going to be her arc. She's going to learn to accept this, and she's going to see that this is something that she should be allowed to happen. She's going to change her mind. That's going to be the plot.
I get that. That's the point. But it annoys me that there's no referencing the fact that this has happened to her recently.
Alright, that's something all the shows are guilty of, though. Whenever we have these crossovers, the characters, like... Because remember, it was like when Flash went to Supergirl for an episode, he came back, and he just didn't talk about it.
And I would agree if just last week we hadn't seen Dominators and her react to that.
Okay, yeah, well, clearly, they're starting to let some of it come in, sure. But we've seen them be guilty of it, right?
We have, but I'm not going to excuse it for that.
That didn't really bother me so much. I got that she was being wrong. I disagree with what she's saying, but I understood why the character was saying it. It's her bias, it's her fault that's doing this. It's not the correct thing she should be saying. I
agree. I would have liked to seen it referenced and it playing into this.
Yeah, it didn't really bother me so much just because it is a debate for her, and it's
I
growth
get that.
for her.
It was sticky with me a little bit. I just wasn't really feeling it, but I get it.
Yeah, I think Mon-El's actually, as much as I have a lot of complaints about the end of the episode with Mon-El. I thought the final scene with him and Kara, it felt like, because they had this like sort of mellow pop song playing throughout the whole scene at the end when he comes by to sort of tell the truth about why he's doing what he's doing, which was a real shame because I actually really liked the scene earlier on when she confronts him about it. I actually love that after Jimmy kind of mentions, oh, he doesn't really care about people, he just cares about you, and that was part of that scene that I liked when he brings that up, because he's right. We know that's why Mon-El's trying to be a hero, because he's just trying to impress her. So I actually loved that she just called him out on it. As soon as it was put in her mind, and obviously she remembers the kiss, and she puts two and two together, she's just like, why are you doing this? I love that she just called him out. And then the end of the episode kind of
deflates it a little bit, doesn't it?
It deflates it because it turned into just cheesy CW romance without anything else.
The only way to sum it, this is the most CW this show has felt. Yeah.
Yes. Which isn't a huge deal going forward, I don't think. It's just this one particular scene just... Don't get me wrong, I was worried they're going to kiss at the end. I feel like I've said that twice in a row now, 2 weeks in a row. Where there's been a
Yep.
scene where I'm like, they might kiss at the end of this, and it's going to annoy me if they do because they've not earned it. So to their credit, they did not kiss at the end of the scene.
How many times in a row can we say that before it's like, well, they might have earned it yet?
It's true. And I think the acting was fine. I think it was just the writing for the scene that was.
It was just overly CW.
Yeah, they really went hammy on it, and I like, obviously we have to have relationship stuff with some people, and it's just, the reason why I think it sticks out a bit more is when they do it with Alex and Maggie, it works really well. Like, they've handled that
they just
so
have the
well.
small bits in this episode, and every single moment with them is fantastic.
Yeah, the whole making a bet, and if she loses, she has to eat vegan ice cream. I am so on Alex's side. Maggie, you crazy woman. No.
Yeah.
No. Like, every time they popped up in this episode, it was really fun and flirty, and it made sense. They have chemistry. And it's not that Kara and Mon-el don't have chemistry, they do, but it was kind of like I was saying last week, where it feels less romantic and more platonic. And I really felt that in this one, when he starts getting soppy at the end, like, oh, it made me realise I could die happy because I got to kiss you. I was like, yeah, I'm not really feeling that.
I get that. I think it's just, for me, like you say, it's about being earned. The Alex and Maggie stuff, they did earn it. They played every beat exactly how it needed to be. Whereas with these, they had the moment where they kissed, and like, oh, they started on that path, and I was fine with that. But then they kind of backpedaled, and it's not really been there since. And now it's like, oh, remember that, and it feels like they're trying to just shove it in our faces again.
Yeah, and it chose this to be like, because the scene before this was the end of the Megan stuff, the Martian Manhunter plot,
Which I loved.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute, but it was just kind of funny how that ended on this cliffhanger. The White Martians are coming. And I was like, oh, cut to credit. That's your cliffhanger.
That's it, yeah.
But then
there was this.
It chose to end on this scene with the romantic stuff, and it ends with this somber moment of her looking, and I'm like, okay, and they're going for the whole, she gets the spark of a crush or whatever during this scene because he's so open and he's so...
Yeah.
And I think it bothered me even more because I really liked the scene earlier on in the episode when she calls him out on his bullshit.
I agree, and this does retroactively ruin that scene a little bit.
A little bit. It still worked really well because
it still works as a scene on its own in its placement, but it is dampened because its place in the episode overall, looking back, is a bit weaker.
It's dampened in that sense, but it still works well for her character. I still respect her more, especially since in this episode she does let her bias get in the way. She, her anger over certain things gets in the way of what's going on. Which, by the way, when in Jimmy, how did you think lying about where Livewire was and going after yourself was going to end well? Like, how did,
I know.
How could you possibly think that was going?
What are you doing?
Oh dear. That's maybe a salty little complaint, but so they've got Livewire at the start of the episode, and she's in this regular jail cell, and they show the handcuffs, and I'm like, alright, so those are dampeners, they just stop her using her powers, fine.
Yeah.
Right. And then this is before I think, at least you might have seen it in a wide shot, but I didn't notice it before, but her feet are in a tub with water. And the psychiatrist who's talking to her is like, yes, you can't hurt me right now. She's like, oh yes, because my feet's in the water and it might hurt. But no pain, no gain. I'm like, wait, so she can still use her powers? You've got a psychiatrist? What? Who thought this plan?
And what's the point in the dampening cuffs?
I mean, if they even are damp, I assumed they were, but then they bring up this that she can still do it. Then I'm like, okay, that was a wee bit weird.
Yeah, I mean, she's like living electricity. You'd think she could deal with it a little. I mean, yeah, like I said, it's going to hurt, but is it really going to stop her?
Yeah. So, yeah, that was the thing. But I again, all the jokes about having an arch nemesis, Clark makes it look so fun. He's like a evil pen pal you see once a year. I definitely enjoyed this episode more than you did. I think even though the ending of the mon-el stuff really put a damper in the ending, and there was the villain, the evil scientist plan was vague at best.
Yeah.
I got a lot of cool action moments there. I got a lot of good character beats. I liked the electricity lasso. I thought was really fun.
That was fun, and I think for me it was just once we got to the point where Jimmy decided not to tell her out of some petty thing against Mon-el.
That annoyed you, yeah.
Jealousy, and then it was like, and then her finding out. Once it got to that, I kind of it lost me a little bit with the direction that it was going in for now.
Do you know what I think it is? I think that scene didn't bother me as much because I already knew he wasn't going to.
I know, but there's no excuse.
You know what I mean? Though, like as soon as the scene starts, like something's going to stop
I know,
him.
yeah. But I do that, but
Even the way she comes storming in with her thing first, I'm like, all right, she's going to end up saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, you're going to tell me something," and then something's going to interrupt them. That's like I knew the scene was going to end that way the moment she came storming in, and so when it went down this diversion, I was just kind of like, sure, I didn't necessarily like it, but it didn't faze me.
I think that's the difference. I actively disliked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well. Yeah, the Martian Manhunter stuff. So Megan, I should say. I'm just gonna say Megan. It's just weird. Megan is a really. When you're used to saying Megan, it's really weird to.
It's not that hard.
It's hard. But anyway, she gets like a psychic attack on her, and she starts like in pain. And I'm going to point out one thing though. They really. She was sitting there in the same clothes she was put in the cell with, right? Mm-hmm. And as soon as it cut to her, I was like, "Well, they didn't give her other clothes to change into at some point," and I was like, "Okay." And then it occurred to me...
No. In their defense, maybe they've just washed all her clothes and they've cycled around and she just happens to be wearing those ones again.
Okay, right. Possibility, sure. But here's why it stood out to me, right? She could have been wearing the exact same thing, but the reason why it stood out to me that it looked like, oh, she's been sitting in there with the exact same thing since she came in here, or it felt like no time has passed, is because she was still sitting with her jacket on. See if she was wearing the exact same thing, but her jacket was off, as if she'd been there for a while and she'd gotten comfortable, as comfortable as she can be in a cell. But it felt like she'd just arrived.
I get that, but maybe she was chilly. I didn't really see any blankets or duvets in there, did you?
I know what you're saying. It stuck out to me. It cut to her, and she's wearing the exact clothes that she went in with.
It's fair.
It occurred to me. Okay, yeah. She gets a psychic attack. She gets ill. She basically goes into a coma, for lack of a better term, and we get this. And the fact is, I like where this goes, but I have to admit the first half of it was actually weaker than some of the other plots I thought. Because a lot of it was just Jean saying the same things about not wanting to help, and it wasn't until we got to the actual reasoning and he actually tried to justify it. In fact, my favourite line of the episode is probably Jean saying, "I don't want to give her my daughter's smiles." I actually loved that line. That was a really good line. When he's saying why he doesn't want to do the mind meld, because that's what might save her. He might be able to bring her back. But of course he eventually does, and maybe that's why I found the first half frustrating, when he's just constantly going, "No, I don't want to do it, Alex. Go away. I don't want to do it." Because I'm like, you're going to do it by the end of the episode, Jean. That's not. You know, it just seems so lightly. But he does his thing, and they go into her mind, and she's trapped in the memory of what happened on Mars, the sort of the concentration camps of the Green Martians. And Jean shows up, and he tries to convince her, "No, you're trapped in your own mind. This is a memory. You're you. Blah 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 blah. You help me, so I'm trying to help you," kind of thing. Again, minor complaint. It doesn't bother me, but they really should have been in green and white Martian forms in this scene.
I get that.
It's a budget thing. It's a budget thing. But
it works because it is a memory, so they're in their current form.
Yeah, but why are they in that form in their minds?
Because that's how they spend their time, most of it. Like, even when they go to sleep, they don't sleep as a Martian, do they? They sleep in their human form. That they've been, for a couple of years now, they'll have been so conditioned into staying in that, you know, people do it with when they learn languages. If you learn a language and then you go and live in that country, you speak that language so much, you'll start to think in that language as well. So I don't think it's any different to that.
So you say that, within seconds I went, "Oh, that's a budget thing." And it is a budget thing. It
might be, but I people do the same thing with learning a language, so why not it happen with that?
I don't know, it feels like a budget thing to me. I feel like, don't get me wrong, you're doing an okay job of justifying it from a character perspective, but I still think it's a budget thing.
It probably was, but I'm just giving it a very solid reason why it still works logically.
I love how we both come out of this episode with some complaints, but they're both completely different.
Yeah,
we haven't
yours
shared.
Are all these technical nitpicks.
Yeah.
Nitpicks. Forgot how to speak.
Nitpits? Is that something in your armpit?
I don't
little
know
nits,
what that is.
little hair nits in your hairy armpit. Is that what that is?
It might well be. Yeah, I don't know. It's just made up on the spot. But yeah, yours are all those. Mine's like the whole A plot, pretty much.
Yeah. I had some issues with the plot, but not all of it. I thought there was some fun action in there. The character debates seem mostly, it didn't feel, as much as you were saying there was some forced drama from The Secret, and there was, her reaction and like it all felt kind of in character. Nothing
I
felt
get that.
nothing felt like it was betraying the core of the characters. Whereas the final scene kind of felt not that the final scene betrayed her character, because she didn't do anything. She got kind of awkward and embarrassed.
But it
In
makes
that
the previous one's less effective. So it's kind of
yeah,
insulting in that sense.
a little bit.
No, I get that.
Favorite comedy of this episode? We mentioned the bet between Maggie and Alex, but one of the things I loved about that scene is that it doesn't cut away to Kara entering the building. You just hear her off in the distance going, "Freedom of the press, buddy!" And you just hear her arguing with the whoever's on guard.
Yeah.
And it just really cracked me up. I thought that was really funny. So, I seem to like this one more than you did.
Yeah, I really love the Mars stuff. I thought Mars itself looks gorgeous.
Oh
I
yeah,
love
it does.
the
Yeah.
design. I love the shot of them, the two of them almost silhouetted, and just on Mars, the background looks great.
Forehead to forehead. Yeah.
Yeah. I love their whole conversation about them being friends and why they were doing all this.
Well, yeah. The stuff that also was really good about that plot is when he's explaining why he doesn't want to do it. Beyond the line that I really liked about the daughter's smile and all these memories, he doesn't want to give her them. Is the whole thing? It felt very, very current, very political, because he's basically talking about how he doesn't want to see that she was a good person, for lack of a better word, better Martian.
He wants to be able to vilify her.
Yeah, he wants to still see her as this just evil thing, so that he doesn't. If he humanizes her, again for lack of a better term, because they're not humans, then it makes it more complicated. It's more difficult. There's shades of grey. There's complication in his thought process. Whereas right now it's very black and white.
It's easier for him to group her into the horde and just see her as a mindless another one of them, and just push her aside because of that, than it is to open up and accept that they're not all the same.
A lesson many could use right now.
Unfortunately, it seems so.
Many could use this. We should send this episode to lots of people.
Yes.
one key individual in particular, but that's that was good stuff. I like that.
Yeah.
So now I think a lot of the villains in the show have been kind of weak, especially even some of the larger overarching, most of season one's villains kind of sucked. Let's be honest.
Yeah. That said, Livewire always stuck out as particularly goofy.
She warmed to me though. I like her cheesy attitude.
I get that, but she always sticks out every time she pops up when we haven't had her for a while. It's like, oh yeah, there's this again.
I guess I don't think she's any less cheesy than say Captain Cold is on Flash.
Probably not, but she sticks out more on this show somehow.
Yeah, maybe that's a test.
It's not by the time I get 10 minutes into the episode with her, I'm fine again. It's always just a shock to the system whenever she first.
Oh, very good. Very shock to the system. Very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, like I said, I liked the electric lasso. Supergirl fighting her with that was good stuff.
Yeah.
Her letting her go, Supergirl making this deal with her not to kill the guard. I liked that scene as well, actually, because it was very. Because obviously at the start of the episode she's like, mon-el, you can't safety of civilians above all else, so on and so forth. And even though this is a bad guy, he doesn't have to be killed. Very, very super-esque. Very Zack Snyder, learn how to do a superhero, you idiot, kind of thing. Which I appreciate. And even at the end, even that whole idea of compassion where she's back at the DEO and she's like, yeah, okay, she's out there, but maybe when she pops up again, she won't come trying to kill me, she'll come for help, because she sees there's a
also
branch.
you just mentioned Captain Cold, but it kind of has that sort of
that rogues,
similar vibe, where it's like, okay, you're not killing people, I'll give you a chance.
Yeah, and maybe that's something that can develop over time. Maybe they'll do a whole anti-hero thing with Livewire and she'll become an ally down the line.
Yeah, I could see it. It'd be pretty cool.
But that's okay. And poor Alex has to eat vegan ice cream.
That is literally a worse punishment than any of the villains have done yet.
Yeah. It's a fate. I mean,
I'm honestly surprised she didn't just break up with Maggie there and then.
I'd rather be waterboarded. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, apologies to any vegans watching this.
It's not you we're against. It's just your food.
Oh yes, yeah, absolutely. It's a food. You can eat it. I'm not touching it. Thank you very much. I like dairy far too much. It's one thing giving up meat. Like I don't want to give up meat, but it's the thought of giving up some simple things like milk and cheese as well. Like, come on, what are you trying to do? Ruin my life? But yeah, I think we talked about everything there, didn't we?
I think we did actually. I think for once we didn't miss anything.
Oh, good. Good. We don't have to edit a little bit at the end. Oh, we forgot how this episode ended. Here's the last.
Yeah, we covered the ending because we complained about it, and we covered the cliffhanger before that because we were like, oh, that should have been the ending. So for once, I think we actually covered all of it.
Although we didn't say about the cliffhangers, I'm excited about more White Martians.
Oh, definitely.
That should be
I thought
good.
that kind of went without saying, though, didn't it?
It does, but yeah, it does. No, I think this is I get where your criticisms are coming from. For me, it's still like a solid 7 kind of thing.
That's fair.
7,
I think
7.5.
it's not as bad as the roulette one.
Yeah, that Fight Club episode is still the weakest.
Yeah,
of the
that's
season,
still the
I think.
weakest. But this is the weakest since then for me, by a fair margin.
I'd have to try and think about all the other episodes to see if I agree with that. I don't know, I think I was having enough. Like, there was so many little character things that were making me smile throughout that whereas that Fight Club one, there wasn't enough of that for me to get over the fact that I didn't like it.
There was a lot of even the action looks great still. Like there was always the smaller bits that were there that I was enjoying. I've not argued with any of that. It's just the overall direction just wasn't sticking for me. I just wasn't feeling it. So I kind of left feeling a little bit disappointed overall because of that.
Well, it's worth mentioning, of course, the vigilante or the well, that's not wrong, but the Guardian stuff is they're in this place now where she knows it's them doing it, but she's not going to support it, but she won't get in their way. She won't say she won't be like a dictator and say, "No, I've got power, so I'm going to stop you," because she threatens that earlier on in the episode, and she's at least come to terms with she shouldn't do that. It's their choice if they want to do it. It's a start. So we'll see. I'm sure we'll see that grow over the coming episodes.
I do hope I enjoy it more. Maybe next week. I don't know if it'll be them next week or if it'll be White Martians, but I hope I enjoy it more next time that plot pops up.
Yeah, I think. And even if you don't, it's one subplot.
It is. It's not the end of the. It's not going to ruin the show for me. It's just one episode, isn't it?
I am far... Because the funny thing is the Guardian stuff for the most part has been a lot better than we thought it would be beforehand. And it was funny because as he was talking about, oh, I'm not meant to live under Superman's shadow or your shadow, it remember that scene in Red Tornado in season 1 where Lucy's dad, by the way, where's Lucy? Well, I'm complaining, but where's Lucy? And he's like, oh, you're just someone who attaches yourself to more important people to make yourself feel important.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, you know what? They kind of seeded that well enough, to be honest. Like, because we liked that scene at the time, and this kind of builds from that he's determined to do something and not just be the pal.
I agree, but when mon-el calls him, what is it, handsome desk man? So I was like, yeah, he should probably just stay as that.
Yeah. Although I did like when he was getting like grilled by Jean, he's like, can I just go back to pushing my buttons and stuff?
Win's always great though. We're probably going to say this every week now, but
oh yeah, that's a good point actually. That's another funny moment that I loved at the start when Guardian, like, Maggie shows up to the crime scene and the crooks are there, and Guardian goes into the van and Win's like asleep, and he's like, look, I need to make a suit for mon-el. I need to repair your suit. Let's not lose focus. Win is tired.
So good.
And Guardian's just like, let's do one more. He's like, just one. Uno. One.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Win's on top form.
Yeah.
Although most of the characters are. Jimmy's the only one in this episode that, as you say, the whole jealousy lying. But at the same time, the reason why I think it didn't bother me as much, not to keep going back to it, is because what he points out about mon-el is actually accurate. It's true.
It is.
So it's not completely vapid. There's weight to what he's saying.
It is, but it feels like we have that external knowledge that he is right, but he doesn't. It feels like he's projecting jealousy, is what it feels like to me.
It does,
because he doesn't have the knowledge of the kiss and stuff like that. So it feels like he's just jealous. Is how it reads.
It does read as jealousy, but I also don't think that necessarily makes him wrong. Like, I think he is still seeing it. He's still recognizing it.
Yeah, that's the thing. He is right, but it's because he knowing what information he has, it feels like it's coming from a place of jealousy, not from a place of genuine concern, and that's a little bit of a problem for me.
Yes, it feels like but I'm a real superhero. He's fake.
Exactly.
He's a
So
fake.
and I don't want that.
Yeah.
But
Alright,
you know, whatever.
That's a Supergirl. More of a debated episode, this one, but that's how it goes sometimes. So let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. It helps us out a lot if you do. You can get us on Twitter at mild_fuzz. You can get our individual Twitters on the screen. And that's us, guys. So we'll be back next week. Obviously, Flash and Legends tomorrow night, so you can join us again for that. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next time.